I've been thinking about a comment that was made on a post that I had some time ago about healing and whether or not healing is possible. And I want to say that I believe healing is possible. I wouldn't do what I do if I don't believe healing is possible. Of course, we all experience different kinds of adversity. We all have different types of trauma. Some of us, the trauma is more than others. Some of us have higher resilience level than others, and some of us have to cultivate and develop resilience in order for us to feel okay in our mind and in our bodies. And if you've been here long enough, you know that I like to use analogies. So I'm going to use this analogy. I wanted to lose weight around my waist, especially, and I was doing a lot of things, but not consistently. I heard about something that if you do 500 sit-ups a day for a week, then you will have a flat tummy. And of course, I tried it, and I didn't do intermittent fasting, but I thought about it, and I was doing lots of little things, but not over. And so what happened was I wasn't seeing results. But I love walking and I used to walk, but again, consistency. And I moved, and after moving, took me a few months to get back into walking. So I started walking, climbing hills and hiking and different things because I love the outdoors and I wanted to. And I know when I exercise, I have better mental health and physical health. And so doing it, and after doing it for a couple of months, I started noticing something. The tummy was going. And so healing is a bit like that. Consistency in using coping strategies help us to achieve a level of peace in our minds and in our bodies. So if you are consistently going to therapy and practicing the strategies that you're learning in therapy, that will help you to achieve peace. And what you will realize is that you're widening the space between your trigger and your automatic response. And so if your automatic response after being triggered would be fight or flight, or if you're struggling with overwhelm or anxiousness or any one of those emotions, those big emotions that we sometimes have that feels like it's going to take us over, when you are practicing healthy coping strategies, what you'll find is that even when you're triggered, the same trigger will not elicit the same response anymore because you have been doing it over and over repeatedly. And of course, one coping strategy won't do it. So if you're going to therapy, for example, you'll need to practice the things that your therapist is sharing with you, some of the strategies that they're sharing with you that will help you to cope. You will need to do therapy and you'll need to go walking. You'll need to do exercise of some kind that you like. There's a range of exercise that we can choose from. You will need to practice good nutrition. You will need to rest. You will need, social interaction is going to be important, and different things that you'll need to practice that is going to help you to cope effectively. And so as you are doing that, you're widening the space between your trigger and automatic response. And so the same thing that used to trigger you and send you into fight or flight place will send you into anxiousness and agitation will no longer do that, because when you know you have the space now that when you're triggered, you're practicing deep breathing, you're going for a walk, you're calling a friend, you're going to your therapy, you're processing, you're understanding how the triggers come and the things that comes before. And so you're noticing, you're being more aware, you're staying longer in your conscious mind, and you're knowing the strategies to use that even when you're in the emotional brain, how to get back to your conscious mind and to make those decisions. You're learning the tool that is helping you to stay safe in your body, to regulate your nervous system. And your mind and body is working really well together and cooperating, because over time, you're laying down new pathways. You're laying down new strategies in your mind and in your body. And over time, as you practice it regularly, it becomes a normal part of your everyday life. And so for some people, it might take longer than other people to begin to start and to be consistent and to practice. For some people, because they might be healing from different things to you, they might be able to achieve it in a shorter time. It doesn't mean that what you're doing, because it might take longer, doesn't mean that it's not possible. It is possible. And so I want to encourage you to consistently use healthy coping strategies, whatever the trauma that you've experienced, continue to use consistently healthy coping strategies, and you will achieve a level of peace in your mind and body that will set you up for better relationships with others and with yourself. For peace of mind on a day-to-day basis. So you can live and exist in a space in your mind and body where you experience lots of days and weeks when you are in alignment with, both your mind and your body is in alignment and is at peace, and you're not living in a state of constant agitation and fear and worry and anxiousness. But you'll have days of peace and calm and contentment. I believe both is possible, and that's why I do what I do. Is that healing? That might look like healing for some people. There are other people that may have experienced things over longer periods of time that may have to do this longer and may need different types of coping strategies. So there are many. There are people who will need therapy and exercise and lots of rest and good nutrition, Bible study and prayer, and lots more, a range of coping strategies that will be used. There are others that might not need as many over a longer period. But whatever we do, we're not comparing pain. Everybody's pain is valid in its own right. We're not comparing. But what I'm saying is whatever you're using at this moment to cope with whatever the strategies is that you're using, I want to encourage you to be consistent with it, to do it day by day, to follow through. If it's a good counselor that you need, go on Google, search for one in your area that is aligned with you and your values. You will find one that is aligned with your values. And sometimes, I know I discussed this on a podcast yesterday, that sometimes you will find one that also will work with you in the area of cost. Sometimes there are different ways. You can find one via your GP, via the Association of Christian Counselors or the British Association of Counseling Professionals. There are many ways to search for a therapist that might be in alignment with you. But